Max Headroom was designed to be a parody of real-life TV newscasters where the line between news and entertainment was getting more and more blurry.
Okay, so over the last 15 years alone, I've been in the same apartment, and while I have tried to go to the mountains and get out and get fresh air, even there, the darkness has followed me. Yeah, dude, I've met demons in the mountains. I've had some pretty good conversations with them. In fact, I even saw one of them. Let's just say I've seen one of them transition.
They're ugly looking, lizard, alligator type people. They got the same skin as the lizards got, okay? And terrible looking faces. But then they have the ability to shift and look like a human.
Followers who mostly tweet about Martha Stewart secretly being an alien lizard. Phew!
Quick bits ain't what you expect, because they're shapeshifters.
What?
Devil spawn.
Watch out.
What?
His betrayal is what caused his death.
Airborne defense. This is Sarova.
Good news! We've used the quantum instability of the quick bits to replicate Riley. Oh, who am I, you ask? Well, I'm Riley. I killed the other one.
We live in the Matrix. It's just much more boring than the movie.
Think they live here?
Yes.
For all intents and purposes?
Yes.
Always?
I don't know about always, but it certainly appears that they have been here for most of recorded history. I think they're both just as powerful as we think, but also less. And I think there is not a single they here. Multiple, certainly multiple factions of the same species, if not multiple species.
Oh my God, dude. But I've also seen human traffickers who bring children up to the demons. Oh yeah, so I've been, I have a YouTube channel. I forgot the exact name of it. It's a camping site. I basically go around and look for camping sites to camp out at, like, goods, camping sites. I stopped doing that for many reasons, but you could say everywhere I've gone to these camping sites, if you took cadaver dogs and you went around all of the campsites out in the woods, you'd probably find skeletons. Let's put it that way. He's in the Epstein files. He's been accused of driving around trying to pick up children. He's going up to the mountains selling the children to the demons that are waiting for children to be brought to them. Yeah, dude. There's some truth to those accusations. I have never hurt or harmed a man, woman, or child in my life. Okay? But the general accusation about people trafficking children up into the woods for very, very, very dark and nefarious purposes is true. I've met them. I've seen them. I saw this one. I thought it was a family. It was these Eastern Europeans camping out with 4 or 5 young 10 to 13-year-old children. No women there. And the children were literally like in a mosquito net enclosure, almost like as if they were in a little prison. Yeah, dude. They had a beef with me, I'll tell you that. I knew when I saw them, I knew exactly what they were doing and what was going on. It's beyond comprehension what's happening on this planet and what's happening to so many children.
A disturbing discovery in Ireland. A mass grave of children has been found at a site that was once a Catholic orphanage. 3 years ago, a local historian investigated and found death certificates for nearly 800 children who died at the orphanage. Nuns ran the home where thousands of unmarried mothers were forced to stay as punishment. Many of the women were able to leave after serving their time. Their children were left behind.
Now to Canada, where horrors from a different era have returned to haunt the country. Another mass grave of children has been unearthed, school children. And this is the third one since May. 182 unmarked graves have been found in British Columbia. More than 1,000 mass graves have been found in Canada. The findings have led to an angry backlash. But neither the Justin Trudeau government nor the Catholic Church wants to take responsibility.
Representative from the Biden administration that was there in the meeting as well. We have 500,000 children who had sponsors in this country that we can't find. We can't find them. 500,000 children. There's a level of hypocrisy that everyone that states they want to protect everyone but innocent individuals who are victims of crimes and children. I want to support and protect children and innocent people that are victims of crime.
And just because Epstein's gone doesn't mean that this human trafficking stuff is over. It's still going on right now.
Because we are food to them, and they squeeze us mercilessly because we are their sustenance.
We are food to them? Are we food to them? A lot of people are freaking out this week because KFC just put out this new advertisement literally talking about this satanic ritual where a human is turned into KFC food.
I don't really feel that comfortable with a sushi bar where what's on the menu is little babies. I'll have 1 brown one and 2 white ones, please. Well done.
Okay, I have personally met human traffickers and literally, for lack of a better word, demons. Yeah, up in the mountains, dude. Since I've been a targeted individual my entire life, I have learned slowly, I might add. In many ways, I am a slow learner. For years and years, I couldn't understand the things and bad luck that followed me. Always trying to stay 2 steps ahead of the darkness and weird, completely illogical and terrible things happening in my life. Yeah, dude. I've had friends possessed by demons and completely become untrustworthy enemies, basically. I've had girlfriends literally fucking straight up disappear on at least 2 occasions. If you search right around 1995, 2 13-year-old girls' remains were found in a motel in Clearwater, Florida. I was implicated in their deaths by the police, and they tried to blame that shit on me. They literally found a puddle of biological goo and skull and bones of 2 little 13-year-old girls. And like, I remember watching the police news report. The police guy is on the news like, I can't understand what happened. Like, he must have like killed the girls, put them in a bucket, dissolved them, and then instead of taking the bucket and getting rid of the evidence, he just poured the goo and the bones out onto the floor. Now, if you know anything about what I've been talking about,
When you do so much research on these topics, you know already that a lot of the victims have reported in court documents and all as these perpetrators, like the elite perpetrators, like Little E and all, as being like shapeshifters. And it's across multiple different reports.
you understand when you find a pile of biological discharge, a pile of skull and bones in a puddle of biological discharge, you'll understand exactly what that is. I had nothing to do with that. Nothing at all. You're talking about two beautiful 13-year-old girls reduced to a puddle of biological discharge and skull and bones. 1995, Clearwater, Florida. The exact hotel, I don't know, but if you look at the main causeway that goes from Tampa Bay, there's like a main road. I forgot what I think it's called Clearwater Way. I don't know. It's like Clearwater, Florida. So it's like the main road as it goes down, and then it goes straight even into the Clearwater for quite a while. And then right at this one point, it turns and does like an S-turn almost. Not a complete S-turn, but kind of like an S-turn. It's like you can't miss it. Right there, right at that S-turn right there, there's a hotel, or there was a hotel. 1995. Look it up. 2 girls' remains were found there. They tried blaming that shit on me, dude. I had friends who were my friends who got possessed by demons, and they were no longer trustworthy.
It's like invasion of the body snatchers. You'll see people you knew or you thought you knew all of a sudden changing, all of a sudden changing, all of a sudden changing.
A girl can assume the appearance of anyone he wants.
Not only the physical characteristics of the victim, but all of his knowledge as well.
You're a complicated host, Mr. Sandoval. I wonder what your Talon friends would say if they knew the secret you...
By the way, my friend, you made major news the last time you were here. Did you realize that?
About the alien, the shapeshifter.
Yeah, you dropped a bombshell. Every paper picked it up.
He said he had twice seen somebody he knew change. Not change clothes or change personalities, change into something else entirely.
Let's just say I was with somebody once and I saw a transformation that I can't explain.
The person transformed into something other than human.
Yes, I saw it.
Much like the 1956 sci-fi classic, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in which the inhabitants of a small California town are replaced, one by one, with identical copies of themselves. Marshall warns us that we've already been invaded. We just don't know it. Being a parasitic race, lizards have the unique biological ability to invade the human body, take over the brain, and by accessing their memories, they can look, act, and seem human in every way. Lizards require that they be provided with a steady supply of humans to consume.
And it's the fact that they're feeding off us.
Body-snatching lizards have infiltrated all levels of society and hold positions of power all over the world. This is done in order to remove key people and replace them with lizard hosts. Lizard hosts can be found everywhere, in all levels of government, business, banking, military, law enforcement, journalism, media, and entertainment. After a period of recovery, the lizard host can return to its regular activities, looking, acting, and seeming completely normal. The Illuminati utilize this unique parasitic ability of the lizards to further their own dark agenda. They are able to remove those resistant to their goals without anyone even noticing. And with lizard body snatching, the troublesome person is now replaced with an Illuminati spy, infinitely loyal and willing to report back everything they see and hear. They want to crawl out from deep underground into the light and walk unnoticed among humanity. However, they are not human and have no capacity to feel human emotions. In fact, as malevolent lizards, they enjoy causing pain and suffering. Lizards often infiltrate human societies by targeting individuals in the ruling class, royalty, or priesthood. Once they are in positions of power, lizards attempt to convince the humans to worship them as either gods or demons, something to be feared and obeyed without question. As gods, lizards would demand human sacrifices as a show of loyalty and devotion. As demons, lizards were deeply feared. Old legends warned travelers against going into certain haunted caves and mountains, and to beware when darkness falls, as this was the time when demons would creep about, stealing babies. When lizards would body snatch a victim, the person was later said to be demon-possessed, and various means would be attempted to drive the demons out. Some world religious leaders also knew of the lizards, had secret alliances with them, and agreed to help them. In the 1940 US, a secret pact was forged between the Nazis and the lizards, making them mutual allies. Conditions of the pact required directing tremendous resources to assist the lizards, including the building of deep, underground military bases worldwide. This would allow the lizards a way to interact directly with humans, which, in turn, would permit the massive, government-sponsored body snatching so prevalent around the world today. If we can assume that all this is true, that body-snatching malevolent lizards have infiltrated human society and are replacing us, one by one, without raising any alarm, one might ask, wouldn't someone try to tell people and save humanity? President Ronald Reagan tried to warn the public on numerous occasions. In an important speech to the United Nations General Assembly on September 21, 1987, at the height of the Star Wars space race with Russia, Reagan mused, "In our obsession with the antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity."
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
We made every attempt to find out everything about Roswell. And we also sent people to Area 51 to make sure there were no aliens in a deep because Area 51 is very important.
Who do you send to Area 51?
National Security Advisor. But I said, we got to find out how we're going to deal with this and several countries have scientific teams there. So after we toured the telescope, we went down and met with them. And I said, do you guys argue about the likelihood of life in outer space? He said, we have huge arguments. I said, you do? He said, oh, huge. I said, what's the range? He said, there are those of us who think it's 85% likely and those of us who think it's 95%. He said, these are people who spend their lives doing this. He said, we think, in other words, it's very unlikely that there is not life. There are a billion, not a billion planets, a billion solar-like systems. There are lots of mysteries out there, which is why I think we should take good care of this planet. I think we ought to kind of hang on to it if we can.
So this is something I feel like, if I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen. You never know. The moment I was inaugurated, my hand it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and UFOs, and I go through everything to find out what happened. Right. Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. That's the first thing that you would do.
The
aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that. Because Barack Obama is on this podcast, and he goes, yeah, aliens are real. And so Obama says, yes, aliens he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? Oh, yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51. So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens, I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people we never existed.
I had friends who were my friends who got possessed by demons, and they were no longer trustworthy. Trying to set me up and do all kinds of stuff to try to make it look like I'm a bad guy and stuff like that. I've been dealing with this my entire life, not understanding what was happening. Okay? Even in 2010, between 2010 and 2015, I didn't know exactly what was happening. Right around late 2014, 2015, I started to figure out what was happening. And then I still didn't even know exactly what was happening, really, until, I want to say, late 2019. I started, and even then I didn't really understand the scope of exactly what was happening. And then 2021 came around, and I lost, during COVID, I lost the only trustworthy people I ever knew. And you could say by the end of 2021, 2022, I started to understand what was happening. And I still didn't get what was happening, like really, really comprehend exactly what was going on, how deep and sinister this world really is. Until, I had all kinds of pieces and like formulations and like the bad stuff. I knew there was the human trafficking and there was this chaos and stuff, but I didn't really, really, really understand how bad it actually is until late 2024.
Doesn't mean you have to hold yourself to a perfect standard and you're not going to slip up and make mistakes. You're human beings. You've got primal urges. You've got trauma. You've got distraction. We're trying to do this not in a natural environment, the environment we were evolved to live in, but in something between a farmyard, a zoo, and a prison. We're livestock. So how do we awaken in our cages? There has to be an individual personal awakening as a component for any kind of communal or systemic change.
The percentages of children that do not make it to adulthood is beyond comprehension. The percentages that don't make it to adulthood right now, well, historically, you could say for the last 100 years, the percentage of children that do not make it to adulthood has been at least 80%. In the last 5 years, or at least since the middle to end of COVID, The percentage of children that do not make it to adulthood is approaching 95+%.
They took us over because we are food to them. And they squeeze us mercilessly because we are their sustenance.
Up to the point where you can not be, your body and your life not being farmed for greedy people.
There are foxes in the hen house.
There aren't just foxes in your hen house. You are living in a hen house built by foxes.
We've been farmed. We're being farmed.
Look at this. This is really great.
Only people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do.
There's more human trafficking and little girls, beautiful young women and children going disappearing right now than there ever has been. More people are dying right now than any other time in history. COVID was this thing that just wiped all common sense off the fucking map. There's no common sense anymore. They're not reporting the deaths. You can certify that somebody died and there's no coroner report required. You can say you buried him in your backyard in California. I might be not 100% correct on that, but the amount of 22-year-old girls that died of colon cancer in the last 3 years is literally unbelievable. And nobody in the media is talking about it as being an epidemic. Nobody's reporting the amount of people that are dying.
In fact, if we look at this graph here, we can see cancer rates have risen exponentially since 2021.
In addition to the increase in all-cause excess deaths in highly vaccinated countries since the gene-based injectable rollout, there has been observed an alarming and significant increase in cancers, particularly colorectal cancers.
But it's absolutely right to debate the ongoing issue of excess deaths in this country and in other parts of the world.
Sudden death syndrome. It's no longer only babies. Working people and young athletes are suddenly dropping dead.
We have a health problem, a national health crisis.
Here in America, it was up 40% during the third and fourth quarters of 2021. Our next guest contends a 10% jump would have been a 1 in 200 year event, but this was 40%.
Cancers that are occurring in young people. Generally, cancer occurs in the more elderly, but we're seeing an explosion both in the US, in the UK, in Japan, in cancers between the ages of 14 and 44, a rapid increase. We're also seeing patients present at a late stage, stage 3 or stage 4. So these are patients presenting late, and then patients presenting with very aggressive cancer. And so there's no question that there's been a change in the characteristics of cancer.
In 2021, all-cause mortality was nearly 3 times that of 2019. 2021, all-cause mortality nearly 3 times that of 2019. And excess mortality in 2023 was 70% higher than it would have been if 2011 trends had continued. So really quite, well, it's an incredible amount of deaths, as we'll see. So other natural causes of death. But this is the line for it here. So again, this is 2023 here. And this is the ×3 line along there. So we see what's classified as other natural causes of death 3 times higher in 2023 than we would have expected if we carried on with the 2011 data. It did carry on going up, but then again, we see a sudden jump. So that is 2021 there, would be just there. That would be 2021. And then it carries on going up into 2023, which is really quite concerning. As I say, 3 times the level. Now, what do they mean by natural causes of death? It's deaths that don't fit into the categories we're going to look at. But to me, natural causes of death would mean things like heart attacks, or brain hemorrhages, or myocarditis, or liver failure, or any of the sort of standard causes of death that we've known about. That's what it would mean to me.
This is truly unprecedented. We're witnessing something that's never happened before. The younger generation getting so sick. Look around you and you see this. Soaring rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, other diseases going through the roof. But there's one aspect of this that I want to focus on as a doctor, as a very observant person, and somebody who travels a lot as well. I go back and forth between the United States and United Kingdom. And I can tell you, looking around, particularly at school children when I'm driving past schools, when I'm out and about, and I look at the sheer number of overweight and obese youngsters. I'm talking about under the age of 16.
Human being, great for family dinners.
He now highlights the ways in which Big Food and Big Pharma rig the system to maintain profits and keep us unhealthy. Your obesity is their profit.
So we have seen teenagers, particularly during COVID, now 45% obese or overweight. It's obviously because of a rigged food system. Early in my career, I actually helped Coke rig the system. They pay the American Academy of Pediatrics directly. They pay the American Diabetes Association. Those associations, the medical establishment has been silent that the fact that the cells and the metabolism of our children has been decimated by our food companies. But now that 45% of children are overweight or obese, we are getting a full court press to have this obesity drug injected into a large percentage of American teens, making them lifetime patients. What's so dangerous about this, Russell, and honestly heartbreaking, having a new son, is that obesity isn't the problem. The problem is that children systematically through a rigged system are putting, poisonous processed food into their system. And even if this obesity drug worked perfectly, which it doesn't and has massive side effects, if you're eating 25% less poison, you're still eating poison, you're still feeding your cells bad things, you're still going to have a lot of diseases and not an optimal life. So once again, it's a distraction. It's a pharma distraction, making lifetime patients. And I think the most important thing here, or one of them, is that this is projected to be the most expensive drug in American history. We're on track to spend trillions on this drug. It would be much cheaper to just have healthy food for kids.
Failure too, that 18% of that money, it's 18% now go to sugary drinks. And that money is basically funding poison for lower income Americans to drive up healthcare costs and destroy the human capital of our population.
According to a study referenced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services website, high levels of fluoride exposure were associated with lower IQ in children. Not good.
Our water is full of fluoride. Our toothpaste is full of fluoride. But if you look at the fluoride studies in 3,600 municipalities around the United States, there's an inverse relationship between the concentration of fluoride and IQ.
Yeah.
As fluoride
IQ.
goes up,
yeah.
IQ goes down.
Yeah, we
Especially
talked about that on the
prepubescent
podcast recently. We're trying to figure it out. Like, what the fuck is fluoride doing in the water?
It's a neurotoxin. Right? It actually, I think it was originally fluorohexene, which actually was a byproduct of fertilizer production. And they realized that when they kept the fluorohexene in the fertilizer, it killed the seed. So they pulled it out and they wondered, well, what the hell are we going to do with all this fluorohexene? Well, I guess we'll convince water municipalities to put it into the water because there's a marginal amount of evidence that it can create a nanoparticulate layer over the enamel and it could potentially prevent tooth decay.
But you should just brush your teeth.
Or you could just brush your teeth, right?
Yeah.
It's astounding.
The way I described it, I said it's like putting sunscreen in apples because some people get cancer. So you should just every apple should have sunscreen in it.
Right.
It's really that dumb.
It is that dumb. And when you look at it, it's like I was looking at the back of some of these. I did a post on this the other day. I was looking at the back of these toothpaste labels, and it literally says to call poison control if you swallow it. Fluoride toothpaste. It says if swallowed, contact poison control.
Oh my God!
But you get 4 times that dosage in 8-ounce glasses of water in a day if you drink tap water. And so, one of the things I tell people to permanently get out of their life, besides GMO foods, is tap water. Like, today should be the day that you never drink tap water again. Right?
Because I have a friend who lives in New York City. He's like, New York City has the best tap water. I said, shut the fuck up. You should never drink that shit. And I was trying to explain to him about fluoride. And it goes in one ear, out the other. You sound like a kook.
You did.
Fluoride's bad. Fluoride's good for your teeth. Like, how do you know? Why are you saying that? Do you know it's bad for you?
Yeah.
What? Fluoride's bad for you. Fluoride's associated with low IQ.
Yes.
Do you know the higher the dose of fluoride in the drinking water, the lower the town IQ is? For real.
Yeah.
People go, yeah, come on. Why would they do that?
Yeah, it's a neurotoxin.
Right. But why are they still dumping that? Is it just some sort of a predatory relationship that the fluoride manufacturers
Well, I mean,
have?
now think of the position that they're in. You're a municipality and like, well, guys, we've been giving you this fluoridated water for 25 years and it's cancer-causing neurotoxin. We're going to go ahead and pull that out. Imagine what that would, it's public panic.
Your food is poisoned. Your air is poisoned.
One even claimed they found a correlation between exposure to particulate pollution and decreasing intelligence, which explains it all, really.
Oxfam is another organization that's been putting out more information about what's happening in Gaza, and I commend them for doing so. So they just recently reported that more women and children have been killed in Gaza in 1 year's time than in any other conflict in the last 20 years. Think about all the wars, especially the wars the United States has been involved in over the last 20 years. Okay, just to reiterate, the damage, the death and destruction caused to women and children by Israel is worse than any other conflict that we have experienced or seen in the last 20 years.
Human being, great for family dinners.
We are the containers, and Earth itself is the farm.
Quote, I want my freedom. Monterey freed me, but it cost me a lot of work. I was in Mexico City for a year and 4 months. All this began in mid-2001. I barely remember. They were young and powerful, and they killed them. The people where you come from are crazy. They killed a lot of people. Death to that kind of human. Go away. They ate humans. Disgusting. They ate humans. I wasn't aware of anything. Of the murders, yes, but they ate humans. Humans. They smell like human flesh.
Every living thing on this planet, plants, animals, us, we are part of a closed system, carefully balanced, meticulously maintained. To us, it's ecology. To something else, it might be agriculture. Maybe our lives are the crop cycle. And death, that's the harvest. Livestock on Earth are bred for meat, milk, eggs, wool. What could humans possibly be producing?
Human meat. Great for family dinners.
The farm is darker. Farmers don't just watch their animals. They feed them, breed them, cull them, consume them. War, famine, cycles of collapse and rebirth, history might not be random chaos. It might be crop rotation. Keep the soil fertile, keep the harvest fresh. Maybe that's what we call UFOs, angels, demons, gods.
First, they kidnapped our astronaut, the young Crichton. Then they sabotaged our space shuttle program. They set it back. They grounded us. Next came the truly most insidious part, and that was installing tiny microchips in each of our brains. Oh, but that keeps the signals out.
And what do you think the signals are telling us?
Eat fatty foods. Come on, man, catch on to this. We get fat, we can't move, they defeat us. It's that easy to take over a world.
So why do you want to eat humans?
Don't worry about protein. Isn't human flesh the only way to get it?
No, there are actually a lot of easy ways.
Oh
my god, you guys, what about human bacon?
Oh, yes.
There's nothing better than waking up to the fresh smell of thick-cut human bacon.
Oh.
2/3 of adults are overweight or obese, and so are 1/4 of our kids. The strangulating mass of fat around our body organs.
I'm telling you right now, that mother back there is not real.
Alice last night, yesterday, who reportedly saw a man in a green hoodie turn into some type of reptile. And I wouldn't normally go with this. She doesn't look schizophrenic, doesn't sound nuts, sounds generally freaked out. But some of the other people on board said they saw things.
Bloodlines, nations, generations. What we think of as history might be little more than stock management. Population too high, plague, growth too slow, industrial revolution, social unrest, release a new ideology into the field. Not random, not divine, just farming. The whispers are ancient. The Bible's God demanding sacrifices of blood and smoke. Aztec rituals, where thousands of hearts were cut out and offered to the sun. Myths of gods who feed on offerings, prayers, and fear. What if these weren't symbols? What if they were protocols, feeding schedules written in ritual?
And then with the satanic ritual stuff, when did that begin? Around the same time as well?
That began when I was a little bit more older. It was kind of always lingering, but more 4th grade was when it really started.
Okay.
I would say.
And how was your life like at school and things like that?
Absolutely awful. So I was going from being taken to these rituals, watching sacrifices, just being up all night, and it was a calendar. I don't know if you know, satanic cults, they go by a calendar, their own calendar. When the moon's aligned, different holidays like Halloween. They have a lot of different holidays, and based on that, they're like events and drum circle parties, whatever they want to call it.
We treat other species as resources without their consent. Why assume we're exempt? If it's true, then humans are not the top of the food chain. We're just another link in it. It's who opens the container.
On my mama, on my hood, I look fly, yeah, I look good. Touch my swag, push it good. I look fly, yeah, I look good. Fly, yeah, I look good. Fly, yeah, I look good. Fly, yeah, I look good.
It's who opens the container.
And they won't eat a dead human, it has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children.